G'day, I'm Father Robin Koning, the Provincial Assistant for Vocations for the Jesuits in Australia, and I'm here having a cuppa with a couple of my Jesuit mates.
Here with Father Robin, I'm Julian Butler, Jesuit student, and we're joined today by Father Steve Sinn from Bathurst. G'day, Father Steve.
Hi, Julian. Hi, Robbie.
Hey.
And good to be with you. This is a nice opportunity to have a yarn about our lives. But look, can I just start by saying it's a wonderful thing to be able to talk about my life. But I want to say it's not my life. Like, I'm a great fan of that philosopher Levinas, who speaks about existence. Ethics comes before existence. So I don't exist on my own and sort of have this calling. A calling comes because I've listened to other people and I've listened to what's mattered to them, their hearts. And I knew growing up and at Xavier, and then that I would find within this group of people, like as a Jesuit, that I would find by listening to them, I could see what was deepest in them, and that drew me into the life and the way of life of the people that I live with, and that's and the church itself, like the Eucharist, listening to the Word and sharing that Eucharist. That's the kind of big story. What's happened? Like what's been done for us, and that's unbelievable. I can't. Every day I find myself amazed at what, as Tony Campbell would say, this one we call God has done for us. But we do know that in Him we have this great hope, and so I'm so grateful. I feel good to talk about. It's not about me, it's about the people I've lived with and the inspiration they've been, other Jesuits along the way. I suppose our calling is always to one to go out. It's a missionary, as Francis said at some point. Our vocation is missionary. We're not monks. We're not contemplative.
Steve, would you tell us a little more about the community that you're living in, the people that are with you there?
Sure. Well, where do you start? I live with 4 blokes. One's just come out of prison, got his parole yesterday, so he's due to arrive. What the thing I could say is that it's not them and me. We share our lives with one another, and I'm conscious of a deep love that I have for the people I live with, so that when they're struggling, I'm aware of it. It's like it's a reality truth. One of the guys I'm living with, I've noticed he's struggling at the moment, I need to talk with him, but I'm aware that the relationship I have with him, it's one of real trust, and I suppose what I'm saying is that it's just persons to person that we have here together, and I just live with these people, and God sends the people who need the place. It's my home, but it's also a faith community, these guys. I don't want to objectify them or stereotype them. You know, I could talk about where they come from and all that sort of thing, but it's Alex and Michael and John and Hugh, and they're my, and Greg. There are some who are on the, and I'm going to visit Aaron this afternoon, and there are these people who mean so much to me, and who I believe in the power of just sharing community together. See, what I wanted to do when I was at St Canice's, for those who don't know, I was a parish priest there for quite a while in Sydney and Elizabeth Bay, and a lot of people used to sleep on the steps, and I would see them from my dining room table, and I've always wanted to bridge that gap. I actually want to invite to the table. I have a table and invite people who don't have a place at the table to sit together with me, and we eat together. That's the point of a community. I've learned that a community eats together. It doesn't have to be every night, but at least, you know, it's a formal once a week thing. And we generally eat together and share the cooking. And but so I said, well, I'd actually like to live with the guys, yeah. So that was the vision. That, you know, it wasn't about going out and then doing and then coming back. It was actually community is mission for me, and that was my vision. But it was a community with those who don't have a place at the table. And in my case, it was, look, it's growing. I don't know who it's for. I don't have to define it for what it is. Sometimes the people have come from prison. Sometimes they're maybe just depressed. Sometimes they might be pregnant. Some not, whatever. As I say, God will send the people who need us. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity of sharing their lives. These are guys, they'll never get a house. They've always got huge debts, you know, rental and telephone and you name it. But they want a house. They want a place to build their family. You know, they've got children that they're not with them. So, you know, they make me weep. And I needed to be in a place where I could learn to weep with them and, you know, and to love. But I'm grateful to the society for the, you know, we know one another. You know, I know your family, Robbie. I know I was at your vows, Julian, and they're important times that, you know, make us companions of one another. We share a, you know, we've heard that call, whatever it is, whatever the word is. We've seen there's something bigger in our lives, or something mystery or silence that we want to respond to. But I can't do it, but other people around me are, and doing it for me in a way, and thank God they are. And I'm so grateful for that.
Was that sense of, you know, what you're aiming at there, that forming a community with people who might be on the peripheries, Pope Francis keeps talking about, was that something that you brought into the society? There's already an inkling of that, or something that evolved during your time in the society?
No, Robbie, you know, even when I was at Xavier, Paddy Stevenson used to ask us to go to St Vincent de Paul conferences, or, you know, visit the place in Flemington. When I was a boy at Burke Hall, Tom Keogh used to have Mission Week and write to me. We raised money for a bike for Tom, and he used to write to me. You know, my father, I knelt beside my parents, and my father wanted to be a doctor for the poor until he said after 5 children, he realized he was the poor. But I mean, I knew what was important for him and for my mother. You know, they would, So, and then other Jesuits, and the sense of, you know, I was saying Bob Slattery last night. I mean, that's me. They are me. They are the ones that have taken me here. They're the ones that have affirmed me here. This is what it is. You know, they've shown me what it is to be a Jesuit. And you know, one thing I would like to say, you know, we've had Nico's died recently, our former general, and in thinking about this, I wrote down a prayer, his prayer, that I read yesterday, that he was distributed, and it begins this prayer. He says, what weakness did you see in us that made you decide to call us, in spite of everything, to collaborate in your mission? I found that really powerful, that you don't get called to do great things. You don't get called because you've got great gifts. You don't get called because you're so together. You're actually called, it's other people have just called you out. And I'm conscious of that it's not about me. It's not about my gifts. It's not about, you know, my being so upright yeah, I'm conscious of so much of my own, where does it start? Inability to feel for others, inability to weep, inability to stand alongside, self-interest and pride and all these things. You know, I don't want to. The focus isn't there, but I realise that Jesus doesn't call me because of my because he thinks I've got a few things to offer. Basically, the less I've got to offer, the more he can offer through me. I'm so grateful for that, because I don't have to rely on anything. There's a kind of point where you kind of drop off the cliff and do something, and that was going to Greenvale. And, you know, that's where Pat sent me, Pat O'Sullivan. And I thought, what the hell am I doing out here? Greenvale was 93 homeless alcoholic men. You know, I'm a 38-year-old person, you know, I don't know, middle class, privileged, insulated, wanting to, you know, who know nothing, who knows nothing, and so that was, you know, when I was about 38, I think, when I went there, and
that sense of being of having that trust, an extraordinary level of trust. I think that's how a lot of people would see it, in being able to say, someone knows me better than myself, and I can just trust that. I think it's one of the things that people probably find most difficult about thinking about religious life, is that idea that, you know, obedience, that a superior will decide for me, that I won't be in control. But you're expressing something that sounds like being very much at peace with that and seeing great value in that.
well, I stand up to my superiors if I have to. It's not about I am in the moment in a bit of a battle, but it's about they love me in the end. You know, and we love one another, and so we'll work it out. But when I was younger, yeah, but no one wants to work with the poor. Let me tell you, it's a lovely idea. We'll go and, you know, try it for a few weeks, come out and, you know, live at Greenvale for a few weeks. No one actually wants to live there, be with them forever, and actually share their life. I mean, I don't. I compromise in all sorts of ways, and I don't. You know, I have the most secure life. So it's, you know, yeah, it's an awful world. Awful. It's got, you know, their teeth are rotting, their feet are putrid, their language with one another is just so putting them down. It's it's hell, and you don't want to live with that. You should see the language on social media. God, the way people speak to one another, because of ways they've been treated and are spoken to and are treated. You know, I remember one bloke saying to me, you know, people look at him and as if he's the shit under their foot. And it's true. You know, if I try and live here, I have to almost be incognito. No one wants to live near them. We ideally, we talk about it, but yeah, that's what I mean about Cliff. You know, actually, wow, I wouldn't have done it. I want my comfort. I want my way. Yeah, so how grateful am I to the society and friends and people who've you know, called forth a better part of me. Yeah, I'm utterly grateful to the society, everything I have. And they show me, you know, the church is the big picture. Like I was reading this morning, when I pray, at the moment I walk and I listen to the scripture, and I was listening to the letter to Paul's letter to the Galatians, and he spoke about, you know, it's not about I know God, it's actually God knows me. God, I'm known by God. So that's a lovely thing to be aware of, and that we're, you know, we're citizens, but yeah, just that I'm known by God. That, you know, in the end, in the silence of our hearts, to be aware that there is this one who knows me. I was realizing I don't live in a Jesuit community, but I have a Jesuit community, and I realized that I love the go back to Riverview on Monday, and we have mass, and that's our gathering. You know, went around the table, and then we have a drink and dinner. And when I was at St. Canis's, and at the time I was the superior, I liked being superior because I loved being able to have a Eucharist with, whether it was, at that time it was Phil Crotty and Aloysius and myself, the three of us for quite a few years. And we would have mass together and a drink and then a meal. And it was just a lovely thing to do. Yeah, you don't need to do it all the time, but when we do come together, it's a lovely, I do appreciate that. Yeah. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your time and that rich sense of the range of people who have shaped you and formed you, formed part of your life, and you're sharing all that. Great to...
I should send, you know how people, when they're interviewed, they send a thank you for people. I send all these Jesuit friends of mine who I want to say thank you to, and I can't say all their names. You need a fair bit of time, and but I am very, very grateful to them. Yeah, our brothers in the province and wider, more widely.